Oh, well, anyway, guys, I'm back, and welcome to part 2, and if you just joined me right now, haven't watched part 1 yet, this is the very first Christmassy video which I'm doing for this month, although I haven't decorated my room yet, but I am going to be doing me Christmas cover videos for next week, so gotta really make sure my voice gets well rested before the big covers, and also the concert footage which I'm going to on Wednesday in a few days from now is Def Leppard and Whitesnake. It's going to be an excellent concert and could be good footage as well. Well, anyway, now I'll say again, if you've just joined me, welcome. Just join me on this video of the history of Radio Times Christmas covers. That's what I'm doing on this video. This is part 2. If you haven't seen part 1, I've been telling you guys the history of the Radio Times and its Christmas covers from the start in 1923 up until 1968, which had a 1960s bauble with BBC stars at the time, and also it was the last Christmas Radio Times issue to have the full name at Christmas Radio Times as its official name. Well, now we continue to 1969, which halfway through the year, near the third quarter, the Radio Times adopted its most famous of logos, which was a flowing, sophisticated serif. Initially, the logo had an outsized R and T originally, which the logo and the style came to define, I'll say once again, the look at the magazine, which I'll show you right here. And also, enjoy this video. Peace. Well, anyway, I'll say once again, in 1969, around halfway through the year, or the third quarter of it, the Radio Times adopted its most famous of logos, which was a sophisticated flowing serif. Initially, the R and the T were outsized, which came to define the look of Radio Times for the next few decades, actually, although the logo had a few major revisions during this time, or minor ones. Well, anyway, the first Christmas issue to sport this logo was the big birth of a dynasty and a Christmas tradition in Britain to this day, because it was the first double Christmas and New Year issue. Well, anyway, here it is. As it says on the top, 2 weeks of BBC programmes, 1 shilling 6 pence. This is the first double Christmas and New Year Radio Times issue, which is, of course, a Christmas tradition in Britain to this day. The cover features, really on here, a galaxy of stars all over the magazine. Right in the middle, a line of disembodied heads of some of them, with Elvis appearing to lead the festivities. There's some on that side as well. Morecambe and Wise were some on there, and a few Top of the Pops presenters, which one of them I'm not even going to mention. Well, anyway, make the most of looking at this one, because this will be the last until 1975 to feature any design at all, as the Radio Times, by this point, was now able to afford full glossy paper and full-page, full-colour photographs. Well, throughout the 70s, photographic covers will dominate the magazine from here on in, throughout the next decade, guys, as well. Well, anyway, here it is, photographic. 1970s cover featured a big Christmas party, a huge one, attended by most of the people who you saw on the 68-69 covers, really. There's Morecambe and Wise leading the festivities, and also Cilla Black, a waiter, Elvis at the back, and a clown from the Psychic Circus again, dressed up as Father Christmas, attempted to do a trick, and they go, no, I'm joking, and there's one person on there I'm not even going to mention. Well, anyway, moving on to 1971. Well, here it is. 1971's cover features the two Ronnies who are going out singing carols to the joyous population around the town. So, yep. And also, this is the first Christmas issue to have a retro-looking effect, which, actually, it's a good effect for the photo, in my opinion. Now, moving on to 1972. In 1972, the Radio Times logo was puffed out And this will be the first major revision to the logo it had until 1994, and on this cover brought a circus theme with Lulu, the Circus Master, Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer-Lion, and Morecambe and Wise were back on this cover, which is quite excellent. 1973's cover combines the two famous double acts of the two Ronnies and Morecambe and Wise, and this photographic cover, which is quite lovely indeed, very excellent, has Morecambe and Wise and the two Ronnies in two present sacks pulling a cracker, which Ronnie Corbett and Ernie Wise are doing, and also you can't see it from this angle, there are presents below them as well, and putting these two together on the cover forms a very huge, powerful quadruple act of very unnoble power, which is excellent. Oh, and also the price at the time, I might add. I haven't mentioned it yet until this point in the video, but the price at the Radio Times in the old money in Part 1 was first 6p, and it decreased and then increased as the years went by up until decimalisation, in 1971, and from 1971 the price for a Christmas cover, a Christmas issue, was 10p, and then after a few years the price went up, and the price still keeps going up for the Christmas issues until this very day. 1974's Christmas issue. 1974's Christmas cover featured some Mothers Do Have 'Em's character of Frank Spencer on the cover, which he was hoping to get a big surprise in the cracker, but pulled the wrong end of it and ended up wondering what big raffle prizes are inside it or not, which have gone. So, yep. Moving on to 1975. 1975's Christmas cover saw a surprise return to the arty and designable Christmas covers. This one is actually very lovely. It's quite nice, actually. So, thumbs up on that one. Great one. 1976's Christmas cover gave us, for the first time since 1964, a stained glass window and of I wonder who it is on the cover. And really, I have no idea who put in the pig in the sack on the cover. I have no idea whose idea that was. Well, anyway, but still a good cover, mind you, as well. Great design on here. No idea what the dog on the bottom of this cover's looking at. Well, anyway, never mind about the dog. 1977's Christmas cover gave us a very nice, lovely, snowy village. And also, if you put this Christmas cover away from you, the snowy village looks like, and has the effect of looking like, a Christmas tree which has got the church on the top. And also, this being 1977, it was also the year of the Queen's Silver Jubilee, which hope everybody had a good time on that day. And for the people who did attend, I was not there, I was not born yet. And the BBC had their most successful Christmas ever in 1977, featuring Bruce Forsyth, Generation Game, Morecambe and Wise, Top of the Pops, Mike Yarwood, Funny Girl as the film premiere. And so, yep, and the viewing figures were flocking into BBC One and 2 in the millions. Well, BBC One mainly. Or was not born yet, this Christmas cover from 77 is a very good one to look at. Back to photographs again in 1978. This time, well, if you put it this way, it has a very terrifying and scary shot of Mike Yarwood being boggle-eyed in a Santa costume, or, if you don't describe it like that, a very smiling, happy Mike Yarwood in a Santa costume. Actually. Oh, I'm wondering, just for a moment, would you want Mike Yarwood glaring at you for 2 straight weeks on your coffee table throughout Christmas? Anyway, the 70s ended with a painting. This time, it has, I don't know what period this is from. I heard somebody say one time about this cover, it could be possibly Edwardian. I think it's either Victorian, early 20th century in the first half, or Edwardian, or Victorian, or street urchins making a very unusual snowman, if you like. You're into Santa Claus out of a postbox, which I think this is absolutely a funny cover to look at, and quite lovely, actually, in fact. excellent. So, yep. Well, anyway, we now move on into the 1980s now, and the BBC starts the new decade of Christmas covers very much the same way as they ended the old. 1980s cover looks sort of Belgian in a way, with the paper chain decorations and young kids right here. Well, anyway, the cover's quite good actually. 1981's cover featured a lot of coloured birds flying around a turtle dove sitting on top of a bell which says, "Peace on earth, goodwill to all men." 1982's cover features this big Christmassy boat, which I think looks really good on this cover, and I think it's on there because it could be used as an alternate way of delivering presents across the seven seas and everything. And also, I forgot to mention, on a few of these Radio Times Christmas covers, such as this one and a couple of others from the 90s, it had 15 days on it instead of 14 for some reason. I have no idea why. 1983's cover features this big, massive, stylized Christmas tree with carolers on the bottom, and it also has elements from the 12 Days of Christmas on here, such as 10 Lords a Leaping right at the top, a partridge in a pear tree, turtle doves, 5 gold rings on here as well, so yep, amongst others, and I have no idea who put that little kid on there on the right to ride in on a toy horse. Well, anyway, it's there anyway. It's still great Christmas issue, absolutely fantastic. Well, anyway, we'll move on to 1984, and 1984's Christmas cover has a wreath on a door, a very snowy, Christmassy, festive door, and if you put this cover away from a distance, you can see Santa Claus winking at you. It's absolutely quite charming, actually. Another favourite to look at, although I was not born yet at the time. 1985's Christmas cover, for the first time since 1978, saw a surprise return to the photographic Christmas covers, this time featuring the cast of one of my favourite comedy programmes ever, Only Fools and Horses, and million bonus points there for dressing up Buster Merryfield as Santa, since he looks like him with his big Captain Birdseye beard and everything and what have you. And I've been thinking, I wonder what Buster Merryfield's doing on the cover. He'll be going, during the Christmas war, during the war. The same strategies were employed in 1986, this time featuring the biggest BBC show of the year in 1986, the biggest hit show, which was EastEnders. Wendy Richard, who was on the cover, died in 2009, in case if you didn't know. So, yeah, and I think the other few are still alive, although I don't watch soap operas. 1987's Christmas cover features this absolutely festive and wonderful image of 2 young children carol singing, and it's got some very excellent Christmassy images around them from foreign and the UK. 1988's Christmas covers has got this very wonderful looking pantomime feel to it, which is nice. 1989's Christmas cover features a choir boy singing carols for Christmas in church, and also, did you know that this cover is the last photographic Christmas cover to date as well? So all the other covers become just artwork from here on in, guys. The 90s Christmas cover was very, very detailed, wonderful, everything, and this one features Father Christmas with 2 children sitting watching Christmas telly. I don't know about Santa's face on there. Does it seem wholesome or not? I don't know. Please comment below. 1991's Christmas cover features Santa yet as the cover star, although this time a lot more friendly and wholesome and jolly than he had been on the previous cover. Well, anyway, on this Christmas cover, 1991, he is reading a copy of the Radio Times that's got him on the cover, reading a copy of the Radio Times that's got him on the cover, reading a copy of the Radio Times, and that pattern sort of goes on, if you know what I mean. And also, this is the first Christmas issue since March, because the TV listings earlier on in the year, in March, were deregulated because Margaret Thatcher's government deregulated everything what they could get their hands on. Previously, the Radio Times had only done the BBC channels and ITV, and then from 1982, Channel 4, and then later on, in the decade 1988, were done by the TV Times. So the deregulation opened up of TV listings in March 1991 from the beginning of the month actually, opened up a new flood of TV magazines into the market. 1992's Christmas cover employed a similar thing to the last year, although it's got this snowman on the front, which looks like he's either happy or you can't trust him at all. Well, no offence. I mean, because it's just because of his eyes that could make him look a bit untrustworthy. 1993's cover features this your little sort of your boy in a Santa costume there, and I did hear one joke about this cover that it's supposed to be a little scallywag on the front of this cover. There's a joke about where he's missing his two front teeth. We move on to 1994. Hey, wait a minute. I know you. I've seen you somewhere before. I most definitely have. No, I'm joking. Not exactly. I'm joking. This one's a redrawn version, actually, with just a couple of minor changes compared to the last one. On the dad and the lad next to him, their cigarettes, one of them's been replaced with those, there's one of those little blowers what you have at parties, and also, and I don't know if you've noticed what you just saw months ago, the famous Radio Times logo had its first major revision since 1972. It got fattened up for the Christmas season and more puffed out. And actually, this is still a very great festive cover. Magnificent. And well done to the people who put this out. And superb. And well, anyway, and also, I don't know if you noticed on the covers, throughout the 90s on into halfway through the 2000s, the cover spent its time telling you about how many movies were on at Christmas. Well, if you want to put it in a negative way, it'll be bragging, or if you don't want to for the people who do not put it out like that, how many great films are on at Christmas. So there were 700 in 1994 and approximately 4,500 this year, which, I don't know if you noticed, started telling you how many are on the cover again. 1995's Christmas cover brought Santa Claus back once again, and also a very great cover indeed. And also in 1995, the number of movies which were on that year was 800. It was considered a very big deal at the time that they actually incorporated one of those little movie clickers what you use during takes into the picture of Santa Claus on here, as you can see. So yep. 1996 Christmas's cover had a big surprise on here with the snowman in the jack of the box going like. I'm joking. It didn't go like that. It's a snowman in a jack of the box holding a copy of the Radio Times that he's on the front of. I love the attention to detail on his face, and great cover indeed. A good one to look at. And also, 1996, this was also the famous Only Fools and Horses specials, which the last one gained 24 million viewers. Well, now we'll move on to 1997, which is my birth year, and my first Christmas had on the Christmas Radio Times cover a more angular picture of Santa Claus, and also one snowman on there featuring him pulling a big cracker full of surprises. I'm joking, I don't know if he went like that or not, but still, really, although I was only a baby and I cannot remember that Christmas, looking at this cover now, it's a really great cover to look at. 1998's Christmas cover features a more unusual picture of Santa on his reindeer in the shape of a horse, mixed between a horse and reindeer, holding a lasso. And that's because he's lassoing, because there's 1,000 movies on over Christmas, so, yep. 1999's Christmas cover was the turn of the millennium, and also this is the last Radio Times Christmas cover to feature any religious imagery on there to date, and although the 1989 one was the last to use exclusive religious imagery on there. This cover features a young angel holding a globe with the millennium done with 2000, and also there are people playing in the snow, enjoying themselves, having fun, and building snowmen, which is quite fan-dabby-dozy. Well, you know what, guys? That is part 2 for you guys. I apologise if it ended up a bit longer than I intended it to. Well, anyway. Well, I think one of the reasons is it could be because, I love to enjoy making these videos with you guys and explaining what each covers are, so yep. Well, anyway, I've done all the Radio Times Christmas covers from 1969 up until the end of the second millennium. Excuse me, I've just had my tea as well. Well, anyway, I'm gonna do part 3 as well, so yep, which features covers from 2000 up until this year's cover, 2015, which I'll reveal, and 2015's one will be on sale next week. So if you want to have a good I'd say now, if you want to have a great Christmassy guide to all the best films and programmes on telly, get Radio Times. I recommend it. Well, I'm just telling you what I recommend you get as a listings magazine, so yep. Well, anyway, guys, awesome. I'll see you guys in part 3. Peace.